Good morning, everyone. I'm just going over here to my Instagram so I can connect with everyone over there. Happy Friday. I wanted to pop on and answer some questions that I received about the Alliance for Cosmetic Nurse Practitioners. In 1 hour, we're going to have a third session for the Masterclass for Cosmetic NPs to make money in any economy. So this will be a quick session here. I'm just waiting. Instagram always is the hardest one. I haven't been able to figure that one out. But if you can see me over there, let me know. I'm looking and I don't even see it. So I don't know. It says I'm live. Anyway, welcome everyone. So happy to be here. Like I said, I'm going to answer some questions that I've received in the last couple of days. And let's see. Yeah, so I just want to thank you all so much for your outpouring of support and congratulations this week. Let's see. So I want to answer some questions before the next masterclass, which is literally in 1 hour. So 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 p.m. noon. Scheduled it to hopefully catch some of you during your lunchtime. The last session will be tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. I have the link in the description box. You still can register. Just by registering, you'll receive a copy of the replay. And those who show up live will also get a complimentary copy of my aesthetic CME guide, which I created because someone specifically requested it. She's certified with the AANP, and I guess she was having a really hard time finding CEs accredited that were only accredited by ANCC. And so she asked for help. And that's what we're here to do, help you stay in business, right? Either stay in business or stay employed. And so let's get into, so yes, I want to thank you all for your warm welcome. And as you can imagine, it's been a busy year leading up to this founding members launch week. And I'm just really delighted to be able to help you make your dreams come true. That's the whole point of this. And if you don't know, if this is the first time you're hearing it, I announced the introduction of the Alliance of Cosmetic Nurse Practitioners, which is a professional membership for nurse practitioners who specialize in cosmetics and entrepreneurship, who want to have a business on the side or build their own empire. And so we've been celebrating Founders Launch Week all week. And being able to answer your questions during the masterclass. And I'm actually really delighted that I'm celebrating this week with a dear friend and the Mellon Initiative alum, Dr. Kimberly Souffrant, who also announced the Souffrant Institute. And so congratulations to her. Excited to hear more about what she's doing over there and any way that we might be able to work together. I already have some ideas that we've briefly talked about. And now with the launch of the Alliance being out there, hopefully we can start to move things forward. So first thing we want to do is answer the question of our first member. So excited. We're just waiting to hear from her. And then once she gives us the green light, we would love to celebrate her publicly. But her question was about the strategy vault. So once you join, you'll receive a welcome email and we'll verify your medical license number. And then you'll receive a follow-up email with a link to sign on and create your account. And then you'll be directed to set up your introduction. And you'll see that there's multiple rooms within the community. One of those rooms is the strategy vault. And so the whole reason that the Alliance was created is to provide community for those of us who have already completed on-demand programs, have already done in-person training, have already gone back to academia for some formalized training, and we're looking for that ongoing coaching and mentorship support. And because I know the power of community, we're putting all that together into a community. It has been the secret, if there's any secret to my success and everyone else out here, is being in community, being in a network. That's what Ivy League schools are all about. You're not just paying for that professor or that book, you're paying to get access to the network. And so when you can't find what you're looking for, you just create it. So that's what we've done. And yeah, so and especially when it comes to dermatology and entrepreneurship, because we do all go to patient care school, we get that part. And when you enter cosmetics, you will start to get some business, primarily customer acquisition and marketing. But none of that means anything if you don't understand the art of sales. And we see that every day when people are closing their business, when they've gone and purchased brick and mortar, signed leases, sometimes 3-year contracts, buying devices, expensive lasers without the clientele to support it. And within a year or two, they're closing. I shared yesterday on social media that in the first year, 20% of small businesses fail. Within the first 5 years, 50%. And by year 10, 65%. Small businesses, that's you and me, any company that has 500 or less employees. So it's very relevant. And you're finding this out the hard way. Those of you who say, I'm not, either two things, you don't want a business at all, or you're not ready because you think you need to acquire all these other skills and experiences and validation. So you're going back to nursing school, you're going back to NP school just to get into cosmetics. And then when you get in there as an employee, you're finding the struggle because you're not helping that business. One, you can't get the job, even though you've done your training, because you don't have the mindset of how you're going to help this business grow. And you get the job and then you don't stay due to unethical practices, or because you haven't been able to help them grow. And you didn't realize that just knowing how to do Botox, filler, or some procedure wasn't enough, because in this particular industry, you need to be able to understand business. Really, I could say this about any industry, but it's, I think, more apparent here. And so I think if you have the business principles, it's a wonderful starting point. And so the Alliance of Cosmetic Nurse Practitioners is the only professional membership founded on the 9 pillars of advanced practice nursing, specifically for cosmetic nurse practitioners, right? There are other organizations out there and memberships, but not for the nurse practitioner, right? That is very different than just being the nurse, okay? Advanced practice nursing has its own responsibilities and considerations that need to be mastered. And so for me, those 9 pillars are patient care. We all got that, right? I just talked about that. And business, like I said, when you get into cosmetics, you will get a little bit. You need to have social media presence. You need to buy, well, some people believe you need to buy some ads, and some people believe in word of mouth. That is marketing. That is people knowing you exist. But how do you turn that follower into someone who's going to pay you money? That is knowing the art of sales. So you can take all these advanced courses. You can have a beautiful aesthetic clinic. You can have 10,000, 20,000 followers, and it means nothing if you don't know the art of sales. So the other pillars, personal well-being, your personal well-being, because all those trainings that you've attended have all been about taking care of the patient. And if you want to survive as a healthcare provider, as a business owner, you have to be able to understand what it means to take care of yourself and not sacrifice yourself for the good of humanity. You're humanity too. Nurses are patients too. Professional development. What does that even mean? Financial literacy, research, policy, media, and technology. Those are all the components that will be at the thread of everything that we're doing. And so when you first join, like I said, you'll get that email, you'll go into the community, look around, navigate the different rooms, provide your introduction. There might be a prize ahead for those of you who complete doing that introduction by the deadline. And so the strategy vault. So this is the question that I received, how to unlock that. And so we'll be building that out together. That is like the beauty of what we're creating here, is that we're doing this together. So much of entrepreneurship is lonely. You're Googling your life away. You're throwing questions in private rooms, hoping someone will answer it. And then after they answer it, wondering if you can trust it, if it's credible, and if it's based on the latest evidence. And so we'll be building out this together starting next week in our first AI workshop. Workshop means we get things done. So, people always ask the difference between mentorship and coaching. Mentorship, a lot of us do mentorship without even thinking twice about it because we're given advice. But when it comes to coaching, we're getting things done. Okay, you have 100 ideas. Let's focus on one of them and let's take the first step. Right now. We eliminate as many barriers as possible. We find the thing that's the easiest to get done right now. So in coaching, we get things done because what happens in entrepreneurship, there's so many options out there. We suffer from decision fatigue and analysis paralysis. And so we can get through that, and especially when we do it together. And so we'll start doing that next week with our first AI workshop. Every week we'll have live sessions. So if you can join live, we'll be able to work on it together, answer your questions in real time. But if you can't, it will be on demand at your convenience. And then when you have your question, while you're working on it or afterwards, we'll be right there to answer it for you. You don't have to hope and pray that someone will see your question and answer it for you. And in that session, we're going to learn about some different AI tools and start working. We'll talk about your ideal client, identifying their pain points, a problem you can solve. Of course, we're going to talk about marketing and sales strategy so you can start to work on that. And of course, analyzing the market, which a lot of you don't do. You don't do it soon enough. You've done all the courses, boards, certifications, stress of finding a preceptor, signing the lease, buying supplies, having a social media, paying someone to put your website together. And then you start to look at the market and you say, oh, it's saturated. You should have done that a long time ago. So we're going to do that right up front. And we're going to begin to discuss what it means to run an online business. So in this masterclass, I'm teaching you how to make money in any economy, primarily focused on B2B business models. Someone asked, what does B2B mean? Business to business. So instead of your business only taking care of patients and solving their problems, which, I think, we just know what we've seen. Whatever we've been exposed to, that's what we see. So as medical professionals, we think the only business we can have is caring for patients. And that's not true. So in this masterclass, we're going over 5 different business-to-business models that you can create that don't require you to chase patients, deal with insurance, and help you expand your target audience beyond your competitive zip code. That's something you guys are all suffering with, right? And so what did it look like to run an online business, right? Because you don't have a brick and mortar, so you can't depend on people walking by your storefront. This is something that I'll start to talk about more on my YouTube channel. Now that the Alliance is out, I still have to figure out what my new schedule will be. But once I have that figured out, I'll let you know. But there won't be a YouTube video this Sunday because I've been going live 4 days this week. And before this week, I went live 3 days when I was back home for the SDPA conference and the Black Health Connect. So you've seen me multiple times. There's so much to catch up on. And plus now, a lot of my attention will have to go to the members. That's what they're paying for. And so today, in less than an hour, we'll go over those 5 business-to-business models you can create that don't require you to chase patients. And I love these models. I love these opportunities because you can do them right now. You don't need to go back to school. You don't need validation. You don't need 10 years of experience. You can do these right now and start to work on them. We put it out there, and then once it's out there, we keep tweaking it. The version you have today is not going to be the version that you have in 6 months or even in 12 months. So there's no such thing as being perfect. It's never going to be perfect. My life isn't even perfect. But we still move anyway. We still stay persistent and consistent. We keep showing up. That is the secret to success. Staying consistent and persistent. Nothing else. All these degrees, all the money, all the networking, none of that means nothing if you don't stay consistent and persistent. So we'll go over those models. And like I said, they don't mean anything if you don't understand the art of sales. And that is what I think primarily is why we are seeing such a high rate of NP-led businesses having to shut down. But we can do this. We're already primarily positioned. We already have all the other components. This is the last piece. And it is a skill, just like placing IVs, just like doing Botox and filler, understanding art and anatomy. All of those things are part of our practice. So is sales. It's not like a one and done course. It is something we will continually work on because we're going to continue to grow. Our audience is going to continue to have different demands from us. And as our business grows and we level up, our skill set needs to change, right? The messaging we use to target someone for a $97 offer is a lot different than the messaging and the relationship building that we use when that offer is $500,000. Completely different, right? And it sounds overwhelming and it might seem like you're not ready for that. And that could both be true, but you get ready by starting. And it's a lot easier when you're doing it together. I'm telling you, I told you all week how much I've been able to get done just by being in community, having accountability, and having proven strategies, proven tools that work. And so super excited to get into that. And in cosmetics, this lack of sales, it's hurting us both as the employer and as the employee. You don't realize it. You think you're going to school to help patients. You think you're getting hired to treat patients. You're getting hired to grow the business. And one philosophy I have, and then we'll just jump off because I got to eat breakfast. Think about our children, right? How do we raise our children? We raise our children for them to go to a good school, for them to get a good degree, for them to get a good job. That good job supposedly is going to afford you a good life and a good income. None of those things are guaranteed, but that is the employee mindset, right? We're raising employees, most people. So when you're the employer and you're hiring that person, You don't have that mindset. You're a business owner, right? Your whole concept is growing your business. If I ask a business owner to tell me about their business, they're going to spend 30 minutes telling me how wonderful it is. Not one time do they ever talk about the employee. And so that is the lived experience of the employee. You're in a position where nobody was thinking about you. And you're the business owner who's hiring someone, and you're so confused and even frustrated on why the people don't care, right? And particularly in cosmetics, there's fear because you're like, look, they're only here to get experience and then go and start their own thing. And I've talked on my YouTube channel about how you can turn that relationship into something that continues to pay you. Because just because somebody moves on, it doesn't mean they don't still need you. Everyone needs help. Everyone needs ongoing help. So we've talked about all those things. And when it comes to scarcity mindset and competitiveness, I can answer all those questions for you, right? And I think nurses are primarily positioned for that. I think when nurses and nurse practitioners have solid business principles, because we've already been in the business of business, we just haven't had the right tools. But once we have the right tools and we keep each other in business, then we can give access to patients to get the care they need when they need it. We can create jobs in our community. We can give students access to preceptors. We can be role models and help other people start their own businesses and change the trajectory of their generations to come in their family. So I'm a big proponent of how business helps communities, how businesses help patients get access to care, and how we can fill the gaps when it comes to education, research, and of course, clinical practice. So that's what we're all about here. So I'm going to hop off. Those of you who are in the Alliance, check the community quite frequently, because every day leading up to our first session will be a surprise in there for you, including over the weekend. You will see our syllabus that I'll be putting out for our first the next 4 weeks. We'll put that out so you can know what to expect and what sessions are coming up. And I've already put the links in the description box, so you can join me today at 11 a.m. Central, and then tomorrow at 10 a.m. for the Masterclass. So I can answer your questions, not only about the membership, but what does it mean to have a business model? What does that look like? How soon can I get started? And what can I expect to make in the long run? What does that lifestyle look like? Because I know what it looks like to have a clinic, but what does it look like to have a business on my terms? So thank you all for joining. I couldn't see. Oh, there you go. Let's see comments. Hi. Yes, thank you so much. I hope you join me at 10 a.m. Well, I don't know where you are, but 10 a.m. Central and 11 Eastern for the Masterclass. The links are in the description box. And just by registering, you will receive a copy of the replay. Oh, thank you. I can't see your name. Someone that just says LinkedIn user. But tomorrow at 10 a.m., so we're trying to make it convenient. We know everybody's schedules all over the place when it comes to practitioners. So yeah, I'm going to go eat, and then I will see the rest of you in the Masterclass. Thank you so much for joining. See you next time.